Coach Islas, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
I'm going to jump right to it. It's your 9th year as the head coach of the Knox Wrestling team. Tell me a little bit about your team this year and what you hope to accomplish.
Wow. Well, we actually this year have a good number of incoming freshmen, and it's probably one of my largest recruiting classes in the most recent history. I've got some experience in our middle and our lower weights. Are really kind of spread out where our experience is, but it's a great mix of youth experience and what they have coming in together. I mean, I can remember in years past how the younger group has always been fairly inexperienced, and now with the kids coming in, actually the youth coming in, the new kids, the freshmen, have a great deal of experience already coming in. So it should lead to a very exciting year. We've got some kids that are going to bring some great talents to our program. So and that's just going to add to what we already have. So should be a very exciting year.
Awesome, awesome. Who are you relying on to be your leaders this year?
I'd like to say everyone. That would be the easy answer, to say everyone. But I've got returning regional conference place finisher Adele Vaca, 133 pounds. He's a junior. Had a phenomenal year last year. Turned the season around. Was actually one of the underdogs in our regional, and really came back and had a great finish. Danny Stafford, a young man playing football, Galesburg local kid, fantastic ability. He's looking really this year. This is the year that we're really going to push for him to make a great jump into making his own name. He certainly has a talent. He's got the hard work ethic, and now it's just a matter of putting it all together and really performing. So we've got him. We've got Alex Faulkner, was also another young man who playing football, currently on the injured list right now. He'll be returning to us hopefully latter part of the season. But he's a young man that finished above 500 as a freshman, which hasn't happened for several years now. So we've got a couple people in different spots in the weight to really step in. And we've got some young guys, like I said, right now, it's a bit early. I like what I see in the room, and I really feel for those three to really do that. Dugan O'Connor, who is a third-year starting varsity guy, should be really someone who's making a name for himself this year. He's got a lot of experience, a lot of competition in the room, which certainly will help him develop. But really, those are the four right now in my mind that stick out, but at any point, I really expect any of those guys that are new coming in and that have been with the program a little bit to really start to step up, because like I said, I like what I see in the room. What I've seen in the room now has really given me a great sense that there are a lot of good things yet to come.
Okay, so that's the upperclassmen. Talk a little bit about the freshmen coming in and what you need out of them. What kind of impact are they going to have for you guys to be successful as a team this year? Well,
like I said, these guys, like I said, this first group coming in, these freshmen, like I said, it's one of the largest groups my recruiting class that I've had, but these guys are very experienced. They have a lot of experience at the high school level, at the varsity level, from here in the state of Illinois. I've got a couple freshmen from outside of the new to the program, outside of the state, but they bring their own talents and unique spins on the sport of wrestling that we're not used to seeing here in the Midwest, which will be a great impact when we go other places, because no one will be familiar with their particular style. But I've got a couple freshmen right now that I know that I'm going to see from what I've already seen in the room. I've got a young man that's playing football, Alex Pappas. I've not yet seen him perform, but he is an Illinois native, and I know that a lot of the programs here, no matter where you are in Illinois, it's always going to be good. Casey Spencer from Benton, Illinois, Southern Illinois, state qualifier in high school. He'll be filling in at 157. He's got a lot of talent, hard-working kid, good-sized kid for a 57-pounder. I really look to him to start making some noise right away. Zach Pollock, 149-pounder, out of De La Salle High School in Chicago. Great kid, athletically just incredible. So I really, he's got some great experience. It came from a great program, and he really is. I'm very impressed by what he's bringing into the room. Alejandro Varela from Phoenix, Arizona, young man that has really really shined early. He's got a lot of potential. We've got to work on a few things where he acclimates to what we do here, but he's got a great deal of potential left. New to the program and not a freshman is a young man that transferred to us from Auburn, Washington, Sergio Ulloa. Didn't know he was here until we started practicing. He shows up. I'm like, hey, this is great, man. Great deal of talent. Wrestled in high school. Went to a community college in Washington where he did not compete in their wrestling program, but was very active in their mixed martial arts, which was good for him to kind of keep his skill sharp. But he's been in the room, and I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed with what he has, and for the ability coming in, I really look to him to make a huge impact in our upper weights. So really, in my mind right now, those guys are going to be a big difference makers in our lineups because I feel that they're going to add something to what we have. And we're really deep in our lower weights, and those guys are adding to that depth, which is going to make it incredible.
Okay, wrestling is primarily an individual sport. How do you bring the guys together as a team?
It's funny that you asked that. Not in a sense of ha-ha, but just coincidental, because one of the changes I made in the program this year is we began implementing what I consider to be some core values. Commitment, integrity, and accountability. And we went over those things with those guys, and we talked about commitment and what that means. And I think every program has about the same set of core values, but I don't know that it's ever written down. So I wrote them down. I went over it, I explained it to him, and I said, you know what? Commitment is about a team effort, and you're right. When you're out on the mat, it's an individual piece, but you make a commitment to your team. So what you do today is going to help your partner get better, and your partner getting better is going to help the other guy get better. And all together, when we're performing and doing and make a commitment to each other, there's your team. When you're out on the mat, you have support from those teammates. They don't walk away and say, oh, it's his own, don't worry about it. It's all part of the program, these values that we have, and having implemented to those and talked in great deal and reiterating every practice that we have, the importance of the commitment to your teammate has really pulled this group together a lot closer than we've had in most recent years. And I really look forward to this group staying together for many years to come, obviously with the guys that graduate, but this core group that we have continuing to stay together and taking part into believing what it is to be committed, and having the integrity to stick with it and say, you know what, I made a commitment, I'm going to honor my commitment. And so it's been a great cohesion right now of what we've had from the new guys and the veterans guys pulling this together. And I think it was a matter of actually just putting on paper, here's what I expect out of commitment from each and every one of you, and doing that brings your team together. And that's really what it's been. These guys, like I said, I'm very excited about what's to come this season, and I hope that what I see and my judge of character for what I know of the sport of wrestling is really going to show out. So
awesome. Just one more question for you, Coach. What are your goals for the season, the keys to success, and do these change on a year-to-year basis? You've been here, this is your 9th year as the Knox head coach. Do your goals change from year to year, or do they stay pretty consistent?
I'd like to say that they stay pretty consistent, but the reality is, as your kids come in, the goals are going to have to change, because you have to know the group of kids coming in. You have to understand what they're doing, what's important to them, and what's important to you, and how do you get that vision between them and you to be the same. I really would, of course, I'd always like to say, well, we're always going to go to the national tournament. The reality is that may not happen right away that year. This year, my goal, I'm planning on getting to the national tournament again. When we were there several years back, it was a great experience. The guys that are here now, some of those upperclassmen were there when we were there, and they've been very hungry to be there. Danny Stafford's, his goal right now, hey, I want to be a national qualifier. I want to get there, because my goal is to become an All-American. Del Vaca, last year had probably the closest chance, as he placed in our regional, to go, and he's been working extremely hard because he wants to become an All-American, and I certainly believe he's got the ability to do it. Certainly has the coaching, but he certainly can. He certainly can do that. So year to year, I try to keep the same goals as much as I can, but I also have to know how to adjust for what I have and what's coming in, because I don't want to lose my kids in pushing for a goal that may not be attainable. I've got to be realistic. What do I have coming in? What's the realistic goal for these guys? And so that's really it. I really have in my mind, I'm planning on going back. I'm ready to be at that national tournament. I'm looking right now for certain Adele and Danny working what they need to do, being ready to make it to that national tournament and perform to what I believe should be their best. So yeah, that's my goal this year. My goals are going to stay relatively the same, and that's my season right now. So,
Coach Islas, thank you very much
for
joining
having me. Yep.
Should be an exciting season.